So you want to go to art school. I graduated from art school about a year ago, and here's my experience, my tips, things I've learned, what my portfolio looked like, everything you need to know to decide if you ultimately want to go to art school or not, or you're just interested in what goes on in art school. Specifically, I went to 3D animation, so it's going to be centered around that. But it covered a lot of things. It goes from VFX to 3D animation to just concept art. I did so much in art school. I'm going to tell you my experience, and hopefully you can decide whether this is something you would want to do or if it's worth it. I want to start off by looking at my portfolio. So I'm on my Google Drive here. So this is my 3D animation portfolio. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I did. I sent my portfolio out to about 4 schools, and I got into 3. These are colleges in Canada, so it's probably a little bit different in every country, of course. I applied for 3D animation, and this is what I did to get in. So I have like a little character design here that I did. I kept it simple. Yeah, I usually show 3 emotions in the characters or 2 emotions, and then some full body of them, which is not great. Like, look at those feet. No, those feet were definitely not giving. Next. I just did a portrait here, I guess, like to show that I could do more traditional means of art as well. Okay, here was like a digital art piece I did. I've grown so much from these, but I guess I just wanted to show that I could do digital art. Here is like something that they prompted you to do. They'll tell you to put some things in your portfolio of your personal pieces and then specific work that they asked for. So this is one of the things they asked for, where it's like a 1-point perspective, I think, or 2-point perspective of like a room. And this was my room at the time. So I did that. And then gesture sketches. You have to do gesture sketches. You don't have to go and find a group to go somewhere and do the gesture sketches on a huge like with charcoal on a huge paper. Just look at Pinterest. Pinterest is your best friend, and draw from there. And do variety in your body types. Next, I had to draw hands. I guess you have to show if like you can draw hands, because hands are quite important and you need to have good attention to detail when drawing hands. So I still think these are pretty good, and maybe it's a little bit weird. Another gesture sketch. And then I also had to draw a real life sketch of things. So I just like grabbed stuff from my kitchen and did that for it. So that's what I did in my portfolio to get in. Every portfolio was a little bit different. I had to add a little bit of different things to it. But ultimately, take your time with your portfolio and try and do these exercises before you even apply so that you have something to show. So I had a bunch of classes. There was a whole range that we covered in like 2 years. So it was pretty intensive, and you get what you put in. So, if you really want to specialize in one area, put all your eggs in that basket and do your hardest and connect with those teachers and really try your best in that area. For me, it was like compositing, lighting, VFX, which I'll get into later in the video. That is the focus I found I like the most, other than like concept art. But I think my skill for concept art just needed to develop more if I wanted to be a concept artist. And I realized that being a concept artist has a lot to do with projection and 3D. And I kind of just didn't really want to like get into that. So I went a different route. I'm going to review my work, and then we'll get into the takeaways I had from the program. So, for example, this is one of the characters I modeled. I think it was like hard surface modeling. We did most things in Maya, and I designed like the design on it in Substance Painter, and you really get familiarized with a bunch of those programs. So this was fun. I enjoy doing this. This wasn't my finished piece. I don't know where my finished piece was, but this was hard. Okay, ZBrush is difficult, and we also learned modeling there in ZBrush. It's hard. I mean, you get an understanding of how the things work in the program, the very basics of like working in that program, but it's hard. I ended up kind of closing out, as you can see from what I just showed you till now. I did this entire character. It was ZBrush as well. I did her in ZBrush. Okay, so here's like my full body of the character I made. Modeling is hard, but this was really fun when I got to like the painting side, because that is where I excel. But again, you get what you put in. You really can like kind of do like the shortcuts of things and make things look good, even though technically, like, if you go into the file, you didn't do a great job. I'm pretty proud of this. Like, I probably won't model a character again because it's difficult. But I feel like I didn't put everything into modeling, so it just turned out okay. We did like hard surface modeling, so we really developed the character from shapes more than just like carving it out in like ZBrush. And we did this in a different program. This is like the UV map of it. You have to learn UV maps and then you do everything. It's kind of like being a 3D generalist. It's good because I learned the basics of every program and just discipline of like learning something, learning a program, understanding like how these things work. It really, I think, even just on a brain exercise level, it was interesting. And I found this fun and I love doing the textures of it. I think the texture and the substance painting was like my favorite. Yeah, and honestly, I'm pretty proud of this character too. She looks pretty cool. I'll move on to animation. I'll show you what I started off my first semester with, which is this. 3D animating is really hard, but I actually found it really fun. I wasn't good at animating. I'm not good at animating, and that was my first project. It wasn't great. I ended up doing a character animation next, or actually maybe it was like a quadruped animation. Yeah, here's my quadruped animations. This is the walk cycle of a tiger. Yeah, at the time, I guess when you're on your computer doing this, it feels like you've looked at it so much that it's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, I'm gonna hand this in. And now looking at it, I'm like, girl, those feet were stiff. Or the body was stiff. Yeah, no. I guess you just look at it for so long on your computer, you can't tell. Another one that we did was this dragon, a running dragon, which is, it's more like following tutorials and then kind of seeing how it's done and then doing it yourself, which I really liked doing it that way. I thought that was fun. This one's better, I think. It's hard when doing a walk cycle that your character doesn't slide. Yeah, and then we upgraded from there to character animating. I have some more that I did, but I don't see them here. I think I did like pushing a block, and then we had to do a lip sync animation, which was our final project, I'm pretty sure. And so here's the reference video that I made for it, which I got good on my reference videos because I don't know, my teacher really likes my reference videos. It's like a character waiting for the bus and then they miss the bus, sort of thing. I think I needed to exaggerate my stuff more because it was rough. But I ended up doing another lip sync animation. I think I have the video of my reference and I'll put it in here.
Did you have an awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
And that one got me pretty good marks, the reference. And here is the
Did you have an
final.
awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
It feels rough. As you can see, animation was not my strong suit, but it's interesting because in a job interview I ended up doing later on, I had to show some of my animations. I ended up showing the dragon one. I think was probably my best one. Um, just to see if I could do animation, which the job wasn't related to animating. So it's good to have a background of skills that you can even show when you want to go for your job. You know, I guess it's just kind of they want to see what you can do in general. The only 2D animating I did was this here. which it wasn't much. You were supposed to just kind of pick a style and do like a cute little chill video, which, yeah, we learned basics of 2D animating as well. And I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was easier to do than 3D. Okay, on to some of the painting stuff I've done for school. We had to do kind of a background painting sort of thing, sort of vibe. And this is what I did for it. And I actually kind of like this one. You want to have like a foreground of something, and then it really was about having a strong foreground and then your background getting continuously lighter. And I did this in Procreate, and I think it's still pretty strong. Like I think it's still pretty cute. I think maybe the ground could use some work for sure, and the sides, like the right side of it. But and I think the sword could probably be even bigger and more take up more space. But I really enjoyed this, and I learned so much about painting. And I'll put in some more work that I have of it here if I can find it. A lot of what we did was copying artists or landscapes and really just copying what we seen in like 20 minutes. So we just do a 20-minute exercise of drawing what we saw. And it became really helpful for me to understand like backgrounds and environments. I think I should probably be doing more of that now. Yeah, it was a way that we learned. And you're not going to go put that in your portfolio if you're copying somebody's art, obviously, but you're learning the structure of how they tackled it, that artist tackled it. And it was really useful. And I think if you're an artist and you want to get into concept art, into environment art, this sort of thing, and you want to learn how to do it, this sped up my confidence even in my ability to do environment art because it forced me to do it. So I think it was really useful in that sense. And I definitely became a better artist coming out of animation school, even though it was animation school, not exactly like painting school. Um, so I think learning from people that know what they're talking about, how could it not be useful? I'll definitely say that school for sure made me a stronger artist in general. Also, the final thing we did was a projection shot in my art class, which mine, I think I gave up. I think I gave up, and I was just trying to go the basic route of things because I didn't want to do too much. So that was all the projection I did. It I hated projection. It was hard. I didn't like it. Anything I didn't like, you can tell that like I didn't I didn't try as much. It's funny. But on to lighting and compositing, which I absolutely loved and enjoyed. Lighting and compositing is my favorite. I went into compositing after. Um, it's way more lighting focused. We didn't do that much compositing, which I learned that I really liked compositing and I want to go into it. And I was trying to find ways that I could do more of it and center it. But I communicated with my teachers. I'm like, I really want to do compositing, or I'm into compositing. And yeah, I'll tell you how that went later on in the video. But here's just some of the work I did. Like we had a render of like a night and we had to light it in a certain way and capture it in a certain way. I found lighting so much fun. I think lighting, and we did some grooming. We did that sounds so stupid. Like groom artists, like 3D groom artists. We did some of that, which I thought was so fun. I think I probably would want to be a groom artist if I couldn't be an illustrator. Like here is like another render they gave us that we lit and rendered, and it's so much fun because you can change it to whatever you want it to be, whatever lighting looks best. I think that's the magic of like Disney movies and Pixar movies and stuff. It's really in their lighting. It's really in their lighting. It sets a scene so much, and I think that's what I found the most interesting. So from there, really, we also did like character designs, which I'll put all the pictures I have of my character designing I did. I feel like I counted for my time a lot. Whereas if I feel like I had more time, I could have done more elaborate things, but I just didn't. So I had to like kind of rush things or pick and choose when I can take time on things and rush them. And yeah, I feel like character design kind of got that end of the stick. But I really liked character design, and we learned a lot about shape language and things like that. And it was a lot of repetition for sure, a lot of turnarounds, expressions, and just like exercises, you know? So that's probably what you'll be getting if you go into character design. And then when wrapping up my final project, which I got to choose what area I wanted to specialize in. Some people did animation, some people did modeling. I for sure did like projection, compositing sort of thing, anything I can composite stuff. I told my teacher at the time that like I want to go into compositing. So we centered my final project around compositing. And here's what it looked like. Which it's a simple thing. I don't think it was that strong, but I still had to manage my time weird because I was doing another program at the same time, and I was trying to actively look for a job and get my hours in. It was a bit of a rough time. So animation school kind of led me to network, which is another point I want to make. Networking is so important. It is how you will get a job. I know if you don't talk to people, you're very much like introverted. I am in a way, except when it comes to things I like. It's going to be hard to get a job if you don't network. You really need to make connections and utilize your community of people that you're in class with. We had a Discord, you have to talk to them, they'll help you out. Just at least just, be present and active there, and let your teachers know what you're interested in. And if they have any resources that can help you. 9 times out of 10, a good teacher is going to find a resource or help you or give you some useful information in any way. My teachers, especially in compositing and lighting, really, really, truly helped me. There was actually a course that I did that was kind of not related to my general like animation courses because we had to do other courses as well. And one of the teachers there, I had told him, I mentioned like, oh, I want to do compositing. He's like, oh, really? Like, I actually like teach a course outside of the college that is for compositing students, like strictly compositing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, how do I get into this, But I'm already in school at the time. So he ended up asking the like program managers to let me into this course to do compositing. And I was doing it while at school, like literally doing 2 Zooms at the same time, but it was worth it more than anything. And that was another online course that I did while in school that led me to getting my job. And if it wasn't for college, I wouldn't have known about this program. I wouldn't have had access to this program. And that program really helped me get a job. So networking really did help me get my job. And then from there, I got the tools to do even more compositing, less about projection. And I ended up coming up with my demo reel. This is what my demo reel ended up looking like after completing that course with my knowledge from school, everything. And this is what I sent to employers, which it's not bad. It's just very like basic, or I don't know, I guess basic. Like amateur. Like now that I have work experience in compositing, it it would look way more polished for sure. I was just showing things that I could do, and I just got stock footage of things and changed things up. I added like a crack window, cracks going up. This was projection. I think I painted out a couple things here. Yeah. And maybe it's not the strongest portfolio, or is the strongest maybe it's not the strongest demo reel, but it landed me my job. So we had toured the place I eventually ended up working for with um, the little course that I was doing in compositing. And then I applied there, and I even explained my connections of how I got referenced, because I got referenced to that job from somebody I knew back at like an old retail job I had when I was like 16. They knew somebody that actually like worked at this place, but they didn't work there anymore. But then they still reached out to someone to ask if they would reference me, and they didn't even know me. It is all just connections and networking. And had I not gone to school or met that one person at my retail job when I was 16, who knows if I would have got that job. And working at that job, I loved it. I loved compositing. I've worked on big projects, like Marvel projects, Star Wars projects, like a movie. I did one movie. Um, yeah. I made a video of like why I'm not in compositing anymore, and kind of how I'm making a change in my life now and not doing compositing. If you want to watch that video, I'll put a card here. Our school for sure taught me discipline, getting up every day, having a schedule, not effing around. Okay, your work needs to be done, and you're forced to go out of your comfort zone in art school, which you might otherwise not have wanted to try or look for, which I think is a really big plus of going to school for art. That and technique. I learned the technique of industry standard things. I got access to industry standard programs for way less of a price or for free, which is another reason why I would recommend going to art school. You get to use their computers. You just have access to so much. At least here in Canada, that's what it's like in art school. And I think that that makes it so useful. And then last point is just the community. That really helps you get a job at the end of the day. I mean, if art school is not for you, it's not for you. If, online, like doing a course online, I feel like could be super useful as well. I mean, there's other avenues of things. If I came up with that demo reel and I didn't go to school and I just did online videos, they don't care if you can do the work. If your portfolio can show for it, you can get a job. If your artwork's up to their standard, it's up to their standard. So it really doesn't matter how you get there, but it matters that you know what people are looking for. And yeah, you can do it without school. I mean, I never went to school for illustration, and I'm trying to be an illustrator, which I'm getting there. I'm still working for it. So it's possible to do these things without art school. It's not necessary. Also, look at programs and what they offer. I looked at specifically what courses I'll be doing in each program, which it should say on the school's website what your courses will be, and see if those courses like pertain to you and if they excite you. And I'd say pick a school that's been there for a long time. It's, a reputable school. I think there's some schools who can be scammy and kind of just want your money. And I feel like my friends had some experience with that where they're just like, oh, this school is just not, it's just, there for your money. So I picked schools that have been here, in Canada for a long time. They have the reputation to show for it. So yeah. Hopefully this helped you navigate a little bit or inform you of maybe your decision to go to art school, or it's helped your curiosity about it. Hopefully it was useful in some ways. Yeah, I just wanted to share my experience in school. I think it just rounded me and molded me into a better professional and artist together. And just having general knowledge of other programs and kind of being like a generalist in a way. I forgot to introduce myself. Damn. I would introduce myself as Cyber Art, but I changed my channel name to Itsvickyscorner. And yeah, I do all sorts of videos on here now. I do videos relating to art. I have a playlist for that. I do cozy videos. I do book related videos. I have like 3 playlists for those things. So give this video a like and check out my other videos. Maybe you'll enjoy something on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!